Have you ever picked up the phone, heard a friendly voice on the other end, and for just a moment, felt a little less alone? That feeling, that small spark of connection, is something we all crave, especially as we get older. But what if I told you that some of those friendly voices, those sudden calls or messages from strangers who seem to care, might actually be hiding a dangerous secret? Today we're going to talk about something that breaks my heart but is so important to understand: how scammers prey on loneliness and social isolation, especially among older adults. You see, loneliness isn't just an emotion, it's a vulnerability. And scammers know that. They study it, they exploit it, and they've gotten scarily good at pretending to be the very thing so many of us long for: companionship, a listening ear, even love. But behind those kind words, there's often a calculated plan to manipulate, deceive, and steal. Now, I don't say this to scare you. I say it because knowledge is power. If we can recognize the tricks these scammers use, we can protect ourselves and the people we care about. So, let's start by understanding why loneliness makes someone an easier target. Think about it. When we're feeling isolated, maybe missing family who live far away or grieving a loved one, our hearts are a little more open. We might be quicker to trust someone who shows us attention because, well, it feels good to be seen. Scammers know this. They'll often pose as a long-lost friend, a helpful grandchild in trouble, or even a romantic interest who just happens to message us out of the blue. They'll shower us with compliments, ask about our day, and make us feel special, until suddenly there's an emergency. A bill they can't pay, a medical expense, a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity. And before we know it, we're sending money to someone we've never even met. But here's the thing: these scams don't just happen overnight. They're often slow, patient, and designed to build trust over time. That's why it's so hard to spot them at first. So, let's talk about some of the most common tactics scammers use when they're playing on loneliness, and how to see through them. One of the biggest red flags? Rushing. A genuine friend or family member won't pressure you to act immediately, especially when it comes to money. But a scammer will. They'll create a sense of urgency: if you don't send the money today, I'll lose my job. Because they don't want you to have time to think, to talk to someone else, or to realize something's off. Another trick? Isolation. Scammers will often encourage you to keep your conversations a secret. Don't tell your kids, they'll just worry, or, this is our little secret. That's because they know if you talk to someone you trust, that person might see the warning signs you've missed. Now, I know this is tough to hear. No one wants to believe that kindness could be a lie. But the good news is, there are ways to protect yourself without closing yourself off to real connection. It starts with being a little cautious, asking questions, and, most importantly, staying connected to the people who truly care about you. Because the best defense against a scammer's fake friendship? Real ones. And that's where we'll pick up next: how to build a support system that keeps you safe, happy, and one step ahead of anyone trying to take advantage. Because you deserve to feel connected, cherished, and secure, without ever having to question who's really on the other end of the line. You know, one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself from scams isn't just learning the warning signs, it's filling your life with so much real connection that the fake ones can't take root. Think of it like this: when your heart is full, there's just no room for someone who only wants to take. So how do we do that? How do we build, or rebuild, those meaningful connections, especially if we've been feeling lonely? Let's start with something simple: reaching out. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Maybe your kids are busy, old friends have moved away, or you've lost touch with people over the years. But here's the beautiful thing: it's never too late to reconnect. A short phone call, a handwritten letter, or even a message saying, "I was thinking about you today," can open doors you thought were closed. And if you're thinking, "But what if they don't respond?" That's okay. The act of reaching out itself is a victory. Because here's the truth: loneliness thrives in silence. The more we stay quiet, the more it grows. But every time we speak up, share a memory, or even just say hello, we chip away at that isolation. Now, another way to build real connections? Finding your people. And no, I don't mean you have to join a big social club if that's not your style. It could be as simple as striking up a conversation with someone at your local library, attending a community event, or even connecting with like-minded folks online. In safe, moderated spaces, of course. There are so many groups out there for people our age: book clubs, gardening circles, volunteer organizations, where friendships grow naturally. But here's the key: take it slow. Just like scammers pretend to be close too quickly, real friendships take time. If someone new in your life starts asking for money, personal details, or pressuring you into decisions, that's not friendship, that's a red flag. A real friend will respect your boundaries and never make you feel uncomfortable. And speaking of boundaries, let's talk about protecting yourself while staying open-hearted. It's okay to be kind and cautious. If someone calls claiming to be a relative in trouble, hang up and call them back on a number you know is theirs. If an online friend refuses to video chat or meet in person, ask yourself why. And if something feels off, trust that feeling. You've lived a long life. Your instincts are wiser than you think. Now, I want to pause here and say something important. None of this is your fault. Scammers are professionals at manipulation. They know exactly which buttons to push, and they've honed their tactics over years. If you or someone you know has been targeted, it doesn't mean you were gullible. It means you were human. And that's why we're having this conversation, so we can outsmart them together. And that brings us to our final piece: how to spot the most dangerous scams targeting seniors today, and what to do if you ever suspect one. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Let's talk about the scams that hurt the most, the ones disguised as love, as family, as help. These aren't just cons, they're emotional traps. And the only way to avoid them is to see them coming. One of the cruelest tricks? The grandparent scam. Here's how it works. You get a call from someone pretending to be your grandchild. They're panicked, maybe crying, saying they've been in an accident or arrested, and they need money right now to fix it. They'll beg you not to tell their parents, playing on your love and fear. And in that moment of panic, even the sharpest minds can be fooled. So what do? Pause. Breathe. Verify. Hang up and call your grandchild's real number. Or call another family member to check the story. A real emergency won't fall apart with a single phone call, but a scam will. Then there's the romance scam. This one preys on the heart. Maybe you've met someone online who seems perfect, they're kind, attentive, and say all the right things. But soon they'll have a crisis. A sick parent, a failing business, or a visa issue keeping them from meeting you. And of course they just need a little financial help to make it work. Here's the hard truth. If you've never met in person, never video chatted, and they always have an excuse why they can't, it's not love. It's a scam. Real relationships don't ask for money. Ever. And finally, the tech support scam. You get a call or pop-up, claiming your computer has a virus. They'll sound official, even use real company names, and say they need remote access to fix it. But what they're really doing is stealing your passwords, bank details, or installing malware. The rule here? Never let a stranger access your devices. If you're worried about a virus, call a trusted family member or take your computer to a real repair shop. Now, if you do spot a scam, or worse, realize you've been targeted, here's what to do next. 1. Don't be embarrassed. Scammers are good at what they do. Report it to the FTC, ftc.gov, or your local adult protective services. 2. Tell someone you trust. Sharing your experience could protect others. 3. Secure your accounts. Change passwords, alert your bank, and freeze your credit if needed. Most importantly, be gentle with yourself. Scammers don't win because we're foolish. They win because we're human. And being human means we crave connection, we trust, we hope. Those aren't weaknesses. They're what make us us. So let's keep our hearts open, but our eyes open wider. Share this video with someone you care about. Let's make sure no one has to face these scams alone. And remember, the best years aren't behind us. They're whatever we choose to make them, full of joy, wisdom, and real connection. Here's to living smart, staying safe, and knowing you're never truly alone.